In today's video, we're going over 5 tips for making awesome looking product videos all on a budget. Hello and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Sam Kuhne. I make videos right here on YouTube all about filmmaking and content creation. If you like this video, make sure you subscribe and click that bell icon down below to be notified every time I post a new video. Now, as I mentioned before, we're going to be going over 5 tips for improving your video quality all on a budget. So some inspiration for today's videos actually come from watching people like Daniel Schiffer and Austin Paul, who have really kind of popularized this style of product videography in the last couple of months. Now, these guys are great at utilizing the things that are in their homes to make really professional looking videos, but obviously they have access to a lot more high-tech gear because they've been doing this for so long, and as someone who's just starting out, I just can't invest in all of the things that they have. But I still really love this type of content and want to get better at it myself, which is why I want to share with you guys some tips and tricks that I've learned over the years that are all really budget friendly and can help you guys create awesome looking product videos. So tip number 1 is to invest in the things that matter. Now, I know this video is all about budget friendly things and how you can make your product videos look good without really spending money, but you have to account for the things that you will need in order to achieve this look. Now, I'm not talking about going out and buying $1,000 lights or even buying a new camera. I'm talking about just investing a few dollars into some things that are really going to make your videos stand out. For instance, before I shot this video, I actually headed over to Walmart, bought a $12 Lazy Susan, a couple dollar foam core boards, and a new light bulb. All of these things together really helped me to achieve that professional look that you've seen in this video. So for instance, I utilized the Lazy Susan to be able to rotate my can back and forth and get different angles of it. Now obviously this is something that you can do in post-production, or you can move the can by hand, but actually having that full rotational 360-degree circle really helped to make my shot more dynamic and really just stand out and pop. I also utilized lights to obviously light my can, and then I reflected some of that light off the foam core boards to be able to create some different type of shadow effects. So you do not need to go and spend thousands and thousands of dollars on gear and equipment to make your videos stand out. All you have to do is invest in the things that matter and take the time to be creative and utilize these things to their full potential. So this actually brings me to tip number 2, which is to utilize the things that you already have. Now that might seem self-explanatory, but you can get really creative with just ordinary household items. For instance, I needed a black backdrop, but I didn't have any backing paper or a black sheet, so I actually just used my black comforter from my bed. Obviously, this was a little bit heavier than what a sheet would be, so I don't necessarily recommend it, but utilize what you have. I didn't have a black sheet available, so I used the black comforter. I also didn't have any stands to prop my can up to the certain height that I wanted it, so I used some cardboard boxes that I had laying around from computer parts that I purchased. So be creative with just ordinary household items and you can really achieve some great looking things. And I'm really excited about building this channel this year and being able to showcase more ways that you can do these things and utilize household items. So moving on to tip number 3, if you don't like something, do it again. Now, when I first shot this video, I actually was using an old beer glass that I got on my 21st birthday that had a sticker on it that said something about the bartender or something. And what I originally thought was that I was just going to edit out the sticker in post and that it would be fine because that's all I had. That actually was a beer glass. It turns out that the shot really didn't turn out good. The sticker was really ugly. I didn't really get any good shots of the bubbles or the beer being poured. And overall, I just wasn't happy and thought I could do better. So even though it was kind of a hassle to set everything up, the next day I set everything back up again and did my best to light it the exact same way, and I got a different glass. And I am so thankful that I just reshot that. Even though it took a little bit more effort, it turned out 10 times better. And the point is that you might not get things perfect on the first try. And if you go into post and you don't like something, just go back and redo it because it's the little details in your work that are gonna make your things look more professional. People like Daniel Schiffer spent hours and hours getting the framing right to just get a single shot. And those are the type of filmmakers that succeed in this industry, is because they're willing to put the time in. If you're not willing to put the time in, your work is going to come off amateur. But if you do put the time in, you go back, you redo things, you spend that little bit of of extra effort, your work is going to stand out 10 times, and you're going to really grow and succeed in this industry. Now, moving on to tip number 4, this is all about the edit. Now, something that I love and probably is my favorite part of filmmaking is the post-production editing process. There are so many things that you can do in the edit that's going to make your work stand out and really pop. Even if you're shooting on low-budget cameras and low-budget equipment, you can really utilize post-production software to manipulate things and make it look 10 times better. So let's jump into Premiere Pro and take a look at the edit for this video. Alright, so now we're in Premiere Pro, and as you can see, this is what the final edit looks like for our Coors Light commercial. Now, this is a pretty simplistic edit, and I will show you a little bit more in detail about some of the techniques and tricks that I used to make this edit. The first thing I want to mention is that everything I shot for this video was shot at 120 frames per second and then was imported into Premiere Pro. In Premiere Pro, I then created a sequence of 24 frames per second and interpreted my footage to be 24 frames per second. By doing this, I'm already slowing my footage down so I don't have to worry about doing any type of speed effects. It's already in slow motion when I drag it into my timeline. This will save you a lot of time if you know for sure that you want your shots to be in slow motion, and obviously if you want to speed them back up to normal speed, you can easily do that. Now, after I interpreted my footage, I wanted to make sure that my backdrop was completely black. I did this by opening up the Lumetri scopes, which, by the way, I am still learning, but I brought down the black levels, brought down the shadows, increased the highlights a little bit, and was able to get that background completely black. This is the before footage, and this is the after footage. Obviously, you can see that there is a really big difference between these two shots, and obviously the color corrected shot looks way better. If you have any tips or tricks about how to use Lumetri scopes better, please feel free to leave that down in the comments, as I am also learning this process. Now, something I also really recommend when you have a shot that's on a black or plain backdrop is to utilize stock footage to create a more dynamic shot. So for instance, some of the smoke that you see in these shots where the can is opening, that is just stock footage overlaid and screened onto the video. And that's something that is really key in taking your shots to the next level. So be creative in using things like that. Now, I think it's important to mention that the most important part of this edit is actually the sound design. I'm gonna go ahead and play back this video without the main music bed and just the sound design. Something I really recommend is that you really get into sound design. Sound design is really going to take your videos to the next level and really just connect with your viewer more. You may not understand how much sound design goes into all of the videos that you watch, but now that you're kind of thinking about that, just take that into account. The little sound effects are really what makes videos immersive to viewers, and it's something that I really recommend that you start utilizing in your videos. Adding little different sound effects is going to really create a more dynamic feeling video and make it more enjoyable for your audience. So as you can see, this is a pretty simplistic edit overall. There's not too much that went into this, but as you see, there's a lot of little details that will make your work stand out and can really improve your overall video quality. And now to tip number 5, our final tip for this video is to just post your content and start creating. So something I've really wanted to do is make product videos. And while I've done a couple in the past, they weren't really up to par with what I wanted them to be. So this time I really tried to get creative and utilize the things that I've learned over the years to just do something that I've always wanted to do. And I'm really happy that I just made that leap and created this video. Even though it's not perfect and I know there's things that I'm going to improve upon, the first step to getting better is to just start creating. So I highly recommend that you don't wait for a better camera, you don't wait for better lights, and you just go out and you start creating now. No matter what you have, utilize all these tips in this video, utilize everything that you have in your back pocket, and just start creating and start sharing it with the world. In 2021, I'm really committed to making this YouTube channel better, growing and learning here with all of you, and I'm really excited for what we're going to be able to learn and do together. Alright, well that's it for today's video. I do hope that you found it entertaining and helpful in some way. If you like this video and you like this type of content, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and I will see you all in the next video.